Hey kid, tell me where this village's rations are and no one will have to get hurt. I, I don't know, sir. I'm just a young Langarian here on travel. I don't know where any of this town stuff is. Of course. Hey, Dexar, Gim Gam, find the rations, and until you find it, burn everything in sight.
You got it, boss. Ah!
Oh, hey there, laundry sheriffs. Long time no see. If you could be so nice as to leave this town alone, try not to steal all its rations, then I won't have to hurt you. I don't want things to get hairy, but if you do fight back, they'll get hairy alright. Laundry sheriffs, show 'em who's boss. That's what you call yourselves? I thought my name was stupid. Jeez, that was worse than a GCU soldier when I hacked on a Wednesday. Don't move a muscle, or else the kid gets it. Alright, fine, I won't move. But you're gonna get it. Hello everybody, my name is Kanohii, and welcome to the first ever mock review on this channel. Ignore the joke. That was a joke. If you couldn't tell, it's a joke parody thing. Yeah. But like last time, this is an entry into the RenzoMocs 1,000 subscriber contest. And his name is Gebbaro.
The backstory.
So Gebbaro here is a member of the race known as the Gebbolians. So his race is a mixture of like woolly mammoths and beetles. So he's an older member. So when he was younger, he and his mom were like cops on the planet, you know, as you do. But then the GCU came, and they tried to make, like, a peace treaty with them, but, like, the leaders of the race didn't want to make a peace treaty, so they had war, but the species was overwhelmed by the sheer number that the GCU could force onto them, so they surrendered. And he surrendered, but his mother didn't, so in order to get his mother to surrender, since she was, like, one of the stronger of, like, the police soldier people, they cut his lower arm off, you know? So she stopped. And, the cop race kind of stopped. They would either become gladiators or do other jobs, or whatever they expertised in. He was a really good pilot during that time. He learned how to pilot. He had a lot of fun with it. He had a small one-person ship, which you might see later in the video. And, yeah, eventually his mother died of, like, normal causes. So, in order to honor her memory, he decided to become a vigilante on his planet. So this is where this form comes in, this very colorful form. He goes around dealing with gangs like the laundry sheriffs, as you saw at the little short at the beginning of this video. And yeah, he's been doing that for like the past 10 years. He's probably on the run from the GCU because they don't like him doing the whatever. I don't know. You can figure out that. He's had a lot of adventures as a vigilante. However, his biggest battle adventure has been against this guy, who you could consider his rival. He's basically Ridley from Metroid. So, he lost his wing because he cut his wing off in their first battle. So, they've been having a rivalry ever since. So, yeah. Consider him a contest entry. More information should be on my Instagram. I'll think of a name for him. This character's character is like, he is pretty prideful about what he does. He doesn't take losing very well, but that's mostly because he's never lost against a gang or an enemy or whatever. And also, whenever he goes around doing his vigilante thing, he doesn't usually get paid, but if the people are like, hey, we're gonna pay you, what does he want? He wants interesting, good food, as you can tell from the belly. His character's kind of a mixture of a bunch of different characters, though my primary, inspiration for would be, the Saiyan race, specifically, Bardock, from, the Bardock special, not the new Bardock. I haven't seen the movie yet. But yeah, also you can tell from the Scouter. So, yeah. Transition slide.
The figure's posability and articulation.
So, since this guy's a figurine, he obviously has articulation. Unless you're one of those weird statue figures, in which I don't care. So we got one here and one here, one in each of the ankles, one in each of the knees, one at each part of the hip that connects the legs, one in each elbow, one in each shoulder, one in each wrist, one at the lower neck, one at the upper neck, as well as a bunch of different random hinge joints for armor, face bits, so on and so forth. Now, all this articulation allows for some pretty decent posing for both relaxed situations and some pretty decent action poses as well. But another thing that helps with all this posability and character is all of the armor and weapons in his design.
Armor, weapons, and other such accessories.
Starting off with the armor and weapons, we're going to start with the simplest of them, the boot foot thing. So, he's got quite an interesting foot design, and the primary armor weapon part of this is the front, which has a little spike on it so that he can just kick enemies and just take them down quite easily. Next up on the armor list is all of the different red bits on his costume. Now, contrary to popular belief from all Zero people who have seen this is not skin or just some random red armor. These are heat pads. Since he lives on a frozen planet, sometimes the white fur on him isn't enough. So, if you're going on a giant mountain, you still need warmth, so the red bits are warmth pads. Pretty simple, but pretty neat. Next up, we have the robotic arm part of him. And yes, this is the entire structure of the robotic arm. Pretty simple, but it gets the job done. So, he has this blue bit, which will be important when I get into a later bit of his armor. And then he has the middle claw bit, which can be launched off from the primary arm bit. He can launch the entire thing, but he usually only sticks to the claw bit so that he can get it on easily. However, this can also just be used as a normal blade, though it's not as effective as his primary blade weapon. Next up we have the arm blade cannon, as you can see here. Now this is every bit that's on the figure that plays a part. So, this is the energy core. He leaves it on his chest so that he can strap it around his shoulders, So when he straps it around his shoulders, he's able to connect a cable to it, which allows it to connect to the actual blade cannon. So you can fire using it as like a normal blaster, and you can also use it as a blade, depending on how he holds the handle. Now, the handle is sort of implied, because it would be kind of hard to pull off with the piece that I chose to use, but it really just straps around his arm. And this blue bit is aiming reticle, which will be important in the next bit of the armor, the Scouter eyepiece. Yes, this guy's very Dragon Ball inspired, but I like this design. So this Scouter basically controls all of the different armor bits on his person. It allows him to have a mental link with the arm so that he can actually use it. Not so much with the foot spikes, because he just kicks with them. And it allows him to use the aiming reticle. So what this aiming reticle does, is it allows the eyepiece to recognize it as the arm cannon, and allows him, from where his arm is, to target each of his individual targets and then fire or slash or whatever it deems properly. However, it doesn't just do that, it also helps him to track heat signatures. So, let's say this guy's just flying in from the vacuum of space, or whatever. He's wearing his eyepiece, he's walking around. The eyepiece beeps, recognizes a heat signature behind him. And then he's able to turn around and have a defense plan ready by the time he gets up to fight him. As you can tell, he has a lot of armor and weaponry, but I bet you're wondering, what sort of powers does he have? Not many, really. He really just has some slightly above average strength due to his training when he was younger, as well as these tusks. They aren't horns, they're tusks, mammoth tusks. But, like, on an insect person. And, yeah. He really doesn't need the powers, though, since he's able to rely on his armor and weapons so well.
Notable flaws of the figure.
This guy is definitely not the most amazing mock you will ever see in your life, because he does have a couple of notable flaws. Firstly, due to the way the chest is constructed, his upward arm mobility is severely limited, as well as forward and backward. And this arm's somewhat especially because of the cable, but it doesn't get in the way as much as the upper body. There are also a couple of blue pins, especially there, and like red axles that I would probably want to get rid of. And that green bit, even though that does add a bit of character, I'd probably replace it with a red bit if I could find one, but I don't have any on me right now. But, yeah. And, oh yeah, and the gold spikes on his feet, I'd probably replace them with, like, white or, like, silver or something. I just had gold on me at the time.
Standout features of the figure.
Even though he does have a bunch of different smaller flaws, there are some bits that I just really enjoy about him. Starting off, I love the back construction, personally, as I was working on it. It really does give off a beetly, buggy vibe, you know, without being too clashy with the color scheme, especially with this shell. I would love to get a version of this without the printing, like with his body piece, but whatever. I also really do love the body construction, even though it does have a lacking of mobility. It allows for an extra 2 ball joint connections, which could be used for, like, arms, as well as adding, like, a bit of chest to a character, as well as a bit of height with that. It also works really naturally with this piece. Sorry? With that piece, it works pretty naturally with it. I also really do enjoy the foot construction. It's simple, but it makes him have that little bit of uniqueness. However, my favorite part has to be the head construction. Now, with the head construction, it's quite interesting. If we take the mask off, you see, we start with the basic Bionicle Generation 2 head. However, I bet you're wondering, how did you get the shark head on there, Kanohii? Well, it's thanks to this construction right here. So there's this bit here which allows you to adapt onto the shark head. However, the middle section is one of the OG Bionicle hand pieces. And then you add this, and this is just there for a little bit of extra armor. And then you put one of these voodoo balls. I think it can be one of the other balls, but just to be safe, keep one of these on hand. And then you have this piece, which is just really for brain stock. And then with this, you just shove it in there. Add the armor piece. Add that. And it gives his head a really unique shape, especially with the ear and the tusks that are on him. And yeah, if I could change anything about the head, I would make the mask white, but that doesn't exist as an official piece, and I don't paint my pieces, because I'm lazy. However, we may have looked over this food-loving bug man. However, as stated previously, he's a pilot. What the heck does he pilot? Well, he pilots his ship,
The Accelerator.
Now this is his ship, the Accelerator. This ship may seem pretty standard size, about the size of Renzo's ship, but it's just a one-pilot ship. You could fit 3 or 4 people, but it would be pretty cramped up in front. And I bet you're wondering, then what's up with the big old back of the ship? Well, that's where all the engine bits of the ship are. He calls it the thorax of the ship because, you know, bug puns, as it's just basically a skull spider with those bits. And he's just able to accelerate amazingly fast. It's one of the fastest ships on his planet. And then these front bits, these little front bits there and there, he takes them on and off depending on if he's racing or if he needs to fight. Those are blasters. Pretty simple blasters, though. They can't do crazy amounts of damage to a ship. He can only really do damage to, like, smaller ships. But yeah, I really enjoy the design of this. I just felt inspired after watching the Renzo ship video to be like, hey, I'm going to give him his own single ship. I'm not saying this has to be the big main ship of the team. Just like this is his own personal craft.
Size comparisons.
Size comparison time. Now, this guy, I don't know how big he is, so we gotta compare him to other people, you know? So, first off, we have the joke Dexar. And then we have Mr. Ridley over here, who doesn't have a name yet. So I'm just going to call him Ridley for now, because he doesn't have an official name. Then we have Akir. And then we have Tahu, Master. And the most relevant of all of these, because of Renzo's own words, Tahu Uniter. So yes, this truly is Smash Brothers. Everyone is here. Also this spoon. Size comparison time. Now, this guy, I don't know how big he is, so we gotta compare him to other people, you know? So, first off, we have the joke Dexar. And then we have Mr. Ridley over here, who doesn't have a name yet. So I'm just going to call him Ridley for now, because he doesn't have an official name. Then we have Akir. And then we have Tahu, Master. And the most relevant of all of these, because of Renzo's own words, Tahu Uniter. So yes, this truly is Smash Brothers. Everyone is here. Also this spoon.
The final verdict.
So that was the review of Gebbaro. And what better way to end the review than with all of my Renzo contest entries. This is a joke. This is something I whipped up at random, and I'm like, hey, this could be a Renzo entry. I whipped it up like a week ago, and I'm like, hey, it could add to this guy's backstory. And this is the main entry right here. But these are all entries to the RenzoMocs contest. I hope you enjoy. I hope I maybe might win. I doubt it, though, because my mocks suck. And they're probably mocks that are going to be better than mine. But hey, at least my guy isn't a villain. Because so many of the entries look like they're going to be villains. But I did use the Soul Spider head. But overall, I really enjoy this mock. And I'll probably use them for my own things. And yeah. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Especially you, Renzo, because I know, or I hope that you're watching. Bug people. And yeah. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. And there we go. Sir, please don't kill me. I was just a hired gun by the laundry gang. I need to get some cash, you know. And we're kind of birds in a feather. We've both got amputated limbs. So please don't kill me, sir. Yeah, sure. Just don't go causing any trouble, all right? Yeah, thank you, sir.